Hi friends, welcome back to the channel. So you got to be careful out there. As it turns out, your gym, your cable company, and Adobe in particular may be out to scam you. And I know that we often talk about YouTube financial scammers on this channel, but I want to talk about other types of scammers as well. And the FTC is actually looking in this stuff and trying to stop this. We've talked about this earlier videos, but I want to do a follow-up because they recently had a vote. So let's take a look at some headlines here. This is from earlier this year. It says the FTC wants to ban those tough to cancel gym and cable subscriptions. The proposed, quote, click to cancel rule will require companies to let you cancel a membership in as many steps as it takes to sign up. And the general gist of it is they often, make it really easy. Click here, free trial, and then afterwards you after a week passes or something like that, you find out that you're part of a yearly subscription and you're like, didn't know the pricing at all because they just say free, and they put the pricing in like really small print. And then when you try to cancel, they may require you to make a phone call, this kind of thing. And then you call and then they say, hey, how would you like to buy this? How would you like to buy this? They try to upsell you. Moreover, it's really difficult to cancel, right? Maybe no one answers the phone, or maybe you have to wait a really long time, etc. One of the things that essentially you can see from the rule here is if it's really easy to sign up for the free trial, they should also make it really easy to cancel. And I want to talk with you also too, just share a personal experience. When I was in LA, I had a neighbor who was an older woman, and I would help her with computer stuff because, occasionally old people, they have computer problems. I'm sure you guys know this. And I noticed that there was like a piece of software on her computer, and I was like, what the heck is this, thing? And I looked into it, and it was like an antivirus thing, but she didn't really need it on her computer. And the basic gist of it was, I think she was being charged like $50 a month, something like that. Now, I know maybe you watching this channel, you may be a little bit more sort of aware of these types of scams, but as an older person, who's maybe just doesn't know computers that well, and also too, even if you do know how to use a computer, it's easy to fall for this stuff, right? Because it sounds good. And this is the same for all these stuff. It sounds good on the surface, but generally speaking, if it's too good to be true, it probably is. And moreover, sometimes for many people, you just don't realize that this is even happening. The gym stuff and the cable stuff is actually an interesting one because at least in terms of the cable, I can't speak to gyms, and for you guys who are gym memberships in the USA, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. The basic gist of it is sometimes these companies charge you a fee in order to cancel, right? So they only have yearly subscriptions, or the way they do the pricing is like you kind of have to sign up for a year. It's kind of ludicrous, and then they charge you a fee to try to cancel. The FCC just voted recently, so this is dated December 13, 2023. We'll read the headline. FCC votes to ban termination fees for cable and satellite services. So it was like, I think it was about a month ago, we talked about that they were going to vote on it. And evidently, so I guess now if you want to get out of your, whatever, is it Cox cables, that kind of stuff, you can with no charges. So I think it's kind of interesting that they're doing this. Obviously, Cox isn't going to like this, of course. Let's read some more details about sort of what they have to say, not Cox, but with the government. This is coming from the Federal Communications Commission. This was on Wednesday. And it says, voted to pass a measure banning cable and satellite companies from charging early termination fees, is a quote. Consumers are tired of these junk fees. That's coming from the FCC. And it says here, they now have more choices when it comes to video content, but these friction-filled tactics to keep us subscribing to our current providers are aggravating and unfair. So today we kick out a rulemaking to put an end to these practices. This has been something that the Biden administration has been after. I'm not promoting the Bidens by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying this has been under them. And it's kind of funny because I personally think these kind of things, these kind of practices, be it on YouTube or gyms or something like that, these deceiving things are widespread. And for many people, you think, well, it's only $20 a month or 50 or whatever, this thing is. And so you think it's kind of small, but it actually adds up quite a bit when you take in consideration all the people who are affected by said things. So for example, this was the big one. That's sort of why I want to do a follow-up on this. This was just on December 14th, so just a couple days ago. FTC is investigating Adobe over its rules for canceling software subscriptions after years of customer complaints. And one of the things with Adobe, it's really interesting, and a lot of companies do this. I'm sure you guys know this. Before in the past, you used to, just outright buy your Photoshop or whatever software you're using for Adobe. They went to subscription model, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, something like that. And almost all the software companies do this these days, where you can no longer, just buy a license and own it. Now you have to subscribe to a monthly thing. My personal opinion is that, I mean, there's a couple ways to look at it. So one is, I understand that companies, need money in order to keep operating, and essentially recurring revenue is very good for companies, right? It's very predictable. You can show your investors that, hey, this is the money we coming in, and we're going to be a stable company, et cetera. From the consumer standpoint, sometimes you just want to buy something once and be done with it. However, and I'm sure you guys know this, and I've always wondered about this. Is something the FTC, I don't know if they could look into. And for those of you out there who are, really computer savvy, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this one. Like when a new operating system comes out, and then it turns out that, say, all of your older softwares no longer work, they say they no longer work, but they essentially say, hey, you have to upgrade, or we're going to lose functionality, et cetera. I always wonder if that's a scam, and that's why I pose to you guys who are using software all the time, because this is something that happens quite frequently. Is some of these software packages are really expensive, right? And so, I understand the subscription model to where it keeps the company in business and you always get the updates, et cetera. But I always wonder like how much stuff really changes with each update. They always say there's updates, but it's always the same to me. Anyway, I just wanted to mention that. And then this was interesting too, because I guess the sort of, how you want to say it? Well, I'll just read here. It says the company has been cooperating with the FTC on civil investigation on the issue since June 2022. So I guess this has been kind of been under wraps, and that's why it just became public recently. And they're saying here a settlement could involve, quote, significant monetary costs or penalties. And the reason why I said to you guys that we're talking about a lot of money here, because it adds up. It's saying here, users of Adobe programs, including Photoshop and Premiere, have complained about the expense of canceling a service, which can cost more than $700 annually for individuals. So some people, right, depending on which software package you're using and what you're using it for, because I think it becomes different if you're using like multiple things and you're using it as part of making money, et cetera, or selling some of the stuff based on because like there's a difference between like business use, personal use, or educational use, right? So that's why you can get up to this like $700 a year for some of these things. And then they were saying here, subscribers must cancel within 2 weeks of buying a subscription to receive a full refund. Otherwise, they incur a prorated penalty. And then I guess Spotify and Netflix don't have this kind of stuff. And then this was a quote from Biden. He was saying here, too often companies make it difficult to unsubscribe from a service, wasting Americans' time and money on things they may not want or need. And this is something that is also interesting. I guess Adobe's also in trouble for they recently bought Figma, and I guess the UK is like, hey, what's going on here with that? And here in Korea, actually, they've been investigating Adobe too, as well, as being, is that a monopoly, etc. This is something that I want to stress with you guys, and just give you some general advice in this stuff. Again, if it's really difficult for you to cancel something, you can complain to the government. So that would be one. Another thing you can do is you can just write complaints on, social media, review websites, etc., just to get the word out on these kind of things. And then another option you could use, which I would recommend, these days you can actually just call up your credit card company and say, hey, these people are charging me a subscription that I didn't sign up for, etc. And oftentimes your credit card company will work on your behalf, and that charge will be gone, and they'll just erase it for you. Now, whether or not the credit card company would get rid of the, what do I call it, like the fee for cancellation, you can talk to your credit card company about that. That's up to you and them. But I'm just saying that's something that I've personally done in the past, to where it's really hard to cancel a membership. And these days, some of the credit card companies have like a button on the credit card website that says cancel. And moreover, again, as being, when you guys come back to the channel over time and part of a community, it's good to share resources and sort of experiences in these kind of things, because sometimes, you think it's a small thing because, it's $10 a month. I'm irritated, but, it's only me, et cetera. But as it turns out, say with the Adobe situation, if it's like a lot of people are complaining, you realize you're not alone, and then you realize like how much money is involved. Or, use the example of cable. There's a lot of people that subscribe to cable, not because they want to, because they're kind of forced into it, be it there's only, one choice in their neighborhood. Google Fiber has yet to arrive, guys. I really get it. When I was in USA, it's like, in my opinion, and I don't work for Google, not promoting them, et cetera. I just think, any kind of fiber network, and Google seems to be one that has it. I think there might be others, but compared to the cable companies, I really dislike the cable companies in the USA. Really, really dislike. And, moreover, when you see these kind of practices that they may make it difficult for you to unsubscribe. The gym one, I just don't know, so I'd like to hear your thoughts on this one. But I do know many of these gyms are national, like major companies, and they're all over, the country. So I wouldn't be shocked if like they have deceptive practices and the sort of, free membership, then you sign up for a year, because they're always handing out flyers for those kind of things. So anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this story, and do appreciate your time. Be careful out there, and I'll catch you next video.